Hello? Testing. Hello? Nope, that's gonna be not a lot. Testing again. Ooh, that's loud. Testing again. Okay, that's a lot better. Once more. Testing, testing, testing. Ooh, that's loud. Testing again. Okay, that's a lot better. Once more. Testing, testing, testing. Yeah, okay. So, I've been playing a whole new mod pack again. As you can see, it's gotten a bit dusty around here. Oh, it's reached the water on this side as well. It's been slowly climbing over on this side, but it's a pretty deep cliff all around. So it's taken its time. It's also added a pollution mod, pollution of the realms, and the accompanying chimney mod. Let me just climb back up and show you what it's looking like. I have disabled all vanilla monster spawns using a mod which specifically does that. Because I'm not here for that default experience. I've also, once again, used a timescale changing mod. Alright, so this is desertification. It is a mod which lets you basically make a small mistake, and that mistake then grows out of control. Which is what happened here. I just draw around my perimeter. I've broken a block over there, and that's slowly been infecting the whole world with desert sand. Some parts it's taking its time, but that's mostly because it's having difficulties climbing up or down. All the water is gonna be replaced and then erased as well. So it's got its own flora and fauna that it's generating. These dry trees are basically all the spruce trees that were here before it. It's gonna be once it gets, I think it's once it gets this block, it just goes all the way up. I'm not too sure though. I haven't really seen it in action yet. But yeah. Scorpions aren't really dangerous unless you step on them. They are retaliatory, not aggressive. Which is great, but it's just about how I imagine they are in real life as well. Depending on the kind, of course. It's probably some scorpions that are aggressive to people. Over here, I've started building what's gonna be a farm. I've been using this industrial hellscape mod to create some good-looking blocks for this kind of situation. And I'm going to be using create over here and mythical agriculture to farm some resources. I've used this nether portal just in case I need to hermetically seal off the outside world. So far, nothing has appeared inside a sphere aside from a single dust bit somewhere. But as far as I am aware, there's nothing that's gonna be teleporting any sand around. Which is, by the way, one of the reasons I've disabled vanilla mobs in case they can pick up, in case Enderman can pick up infectious sand and place it down, because I really don't want to have to watch out for that. That just sounds miserable. Could definitely be an option though. Yes, yeah, the hourglass mod is gonna make it so that the ticks are gonna be sped up while I'm sleeping. So the infection is gonna progress overnight as well. Yep, and we've got the sandstone. Gonna have to look around to make sure I haven't got any infection inside. Dirt is a precious resource in this mod, because sand is going to replace all of it if you don't watch out. And so there's a crafting recipe for dirt. Oh, I can't chop it all. Oh. I am stuck. Oh, buddy. Well, let's inspect over here then. Doesn't look like there's anything visible from up here, but there appear to be some spots of sand which have appeared on the roof. Not that I can see them right now. Yep. You can see if I, up here in this corner, you can see it's normal Minecraft sand. That is completely harmless. It can be spawned in by the mod, but it cannot be turned automatically into infectious desert sand. Desert sand has a yellow name, and if you see that on your farming area, you need to clean it up and find out how it got in there. See, these sand slabs are from this desertification mod. Yeah. Ooh. Let's get back inside and maybe downstairs. Also check the perimeter and just a little, not the entire thing. So far, so good. You see, this is sand from Minecraft, and this is desert sand from desertification. But if you mine it, whoop, oh, getting some lag here. And what I was gonna say, if you mine it, generally you get just normal sand. Yeah. You know, it's just normal Minecraft sand. I think. Yeah. There's no visual difference aside from the name. And over time, this one is gonna turn into desert sand as well, I think. But you may notice, inside, there's not any or not much sand at all that can appear. Like if I check this out, we just had this massive sandstorm. And, you know, it's got nothing. Clean. There may sometimes be a small sand pile that appears. But again, that's not going to turn into desert sand, and it's desert sand you have to watch out for. Just out of paranoia, I did make this wall pretty thick at the lower parts, just to contain any potential... Like, just in case it's kind of like Terraria, where corruption can spread pretty far. But so far there's been no sign of that, and I've done some testing in a creative world as well. This finally reached the bottom. Must have happened while I slept. Since I'm using a single biome, I've had to install this Rubberworks mod to get any belts. Pollution of the Realms is also a pretty interesting mod. It has compatibility with the Create in the way that things like this generate dust. And you have to take care of that. Which is what you just saw. It's gonna be filtered using paper. For a while it didn't keep up and I was wondering why I kept making mistakes and setting it all up. And that's why this is a big hole. Because it blew up at me. And then I had to rebuild it. And that's the system you see now. Okay. Let's see. since sadly sleeping only speeds up random tick speed, it's not gonna generate me more iron while I sleep, I think. Yeah, no, actually, it appears that's also happening. Okay. I think I'm going to start working towards the farming. So, get a depot, a wrench, foot without, and I've got six plates. And I need a lot more. I need glue as well. Do I have any green stuff? Nope, not on me. Or do I? Nope. I can grind some plants down into lime green or green dye. I've collected some fern just as a specimen, since I'm not sure if I can replicate it by just bone mealing. I wasn't exactly sure if that's gonna be changed by the mod. As you can see on the map, I'm directly under the desert as well right now. Originally, the mod had a setting where it wouldn't spread as much in some biomes, which, considering I said it would be a single biome, was not optimal for my intended experience. So I've disabled that and also made it not... Here, look, I can turn this into green dye. That's why I've collected some fern. Let me check if I can... It's not spontaneously generating those fern, no. But if I have this fern and this fern, does that make two? Yep. So that's a renewable source I can use. I'm gonna just hop down and use the... Hold on, yeah, okay. I'm gonna hop down and use the millstone that's down there to grind that down into dye. That has been bothering me for a long time. Grody sounds. Reminds me of pig and farms. Now I can simply, can I? Yeah, I can simply remove this and throw this onto the belt. There we go. Also gonna be throwing this. And that's gonna be my lime dye once I've, you know, combine them. Current bitrate is higher than recommended bitrate. We recommend that you use a stream bitrate of 2500. Yeah, that's probably better. It's gonna be not something that I can change on the fly though. So, do I have wheat? I do. It's gonna be another thing I can throw in here already. And this one can have the output intact. Now it's gonna lag behind a little bit while it's doing this. But the speed is precisely set so that it's gonna be popping around here. And since it's still just a single item all the way, you know, it's not gonna change whether it's flour or gravel. Alright. You know, processed is processed. Pop. And that's why I've got a 4-slot one in here. Now this is slime. Meter plates, and now I've got glue. Probably one of the most important items in the mod. The chassis only run could also be pretty interesting. I don't believe it is optimal. Reminds me of that one clip of them baking bread and then having drones. And the bread is some kind of weird type that in that language is called patrone. So they're just saying, we've got patrone and we've got drone. You know, because the company was making both or something like 90% of the American companies during World War II. And several German ones. You know, war being war. Right. Yeah. I got nothing. It keeps complaining to me about the high bitrate, which is not a complaint I'm used to. I am more used to the opposite. I realized, by the way, that I've been streaming Minecraft at 16:9 using 1600 and 900, and streaming was at more regular 1920 by 960, is it? I'm not sure. Whatever the other one is. I don't have those in my head. I just use 16:9 by using 1600 and 900. But yeah. I want to use all 19 of those, or just make a really long one. could be interesting in its own way. I did want to try the desertification mod and the finite fluids mod. And some kind of mod to harvest moisture out of cacti and stuff like that. You know, like what is the mod pack? Crash Landed? To be forced to produce water and have the water be finite in more ways than one. I'm surprised that one isn't using finite fluids of some sorts. The Crash Landed mod pack, I mean. Though I suppose farming would be pretty annoying if you had to use that. By the way, what I've been doing over here is just slowly building up an office of sorts. Since I've got these neat industrial mod blocks, I want to use them. I'm still not sure what to do with the second floor, so I've been stuck. Is that a rolling cactus? I still don't know what exactly that does. It's just one of the entities in this mod. If it's too silly, I may have to disable entities from the mod. See, you're hallucinating. What? Nah, that was definitely me, yeah. These are also supposed to spawn mobs of some kind. Called constructs. Now, I've got that, got that, and I've got that. Can definitely get started with something. Do I have enough, or do I even have a windmill? I don't know. No. Um. Ah. Okay. block. Potentially, I'd also probably like to slow that down a lot, so not using the windmill directly, which I know is heresy, and just using a normal bearing. Let me also grab some water. I feel like a combination with the finite fluids mod would be something that would need a super big shot server setup. Like, you would need more chunk loading and have the ability to let it run overnight. And lots of processing because, you know, it's gonna be processing a lot. This and these. Now, if I were to, I think I will keep this as the entrance later on, so I will want an elevator shaft here. Let's see what I can do to make. Do I have any sales? I think I did have some, I'm not sure. Okay. So, let's at least 8 are required, so I would need to climb back down again or grab 2 more. Now, that's the slowest possible windmill. Stress units, for what I'm doing here, are not going to matter. Instead, first let me grab wood for a crafting table. So that I can make a temporary ladder. Apologies, that's a ping on my end. I will quickly mute that. And where do I have streamer mode? It's in here, right? Yeah, okay. I guess I can't set it up like, appearance. Enable streamer mode, okay. Can I now set my, no? I thought I could set my status to be streaming. Oh well. Oops. Almost. Some streamer, eh? Well, it's just like that, honestly. Almost expected. Okay, so. Yeah. What am I doing? I wanted it slower. That's gonna be good. Now. That should be good. Let me glue that up before, just so I can see it in action. I like it. Doesn't look like it's gonna be colliding with anything. It's gonna also need to be glued on. Yep. I can see it coming together. Now I just need to close this all up so I can actually start placing dirt and all that without it constantly getting numbed up by sand from any desert stones. Sandstones. One layer is also definitely gonna be dedicated towards just wood. Because I want to industrialize to the point where pollution actually becomes an issue. Because why bother installing a pollution mod if you're not gonna have any problem with pollution? I plan on, like, I think I have high pressure, or whatever it's called, the one which lets you turn charcoal into diamonds. And that's definitely gonna be some experience if you have dust constantly spewing out of that. Bottleneck right now is iron because I want to use the modded glass for the glass part of the walls. Next layer up is gonna be, I'm gonna have to take a look at lighting options that work for this kind of situation thematically. Yeah, it's gonna be quite some time until I can make full use of it. I may have to look into upgrading the iron production while I'm at that. I could add another millstone and just extend this that way. I also have to deal with the flint. I've got several options, most of them, you know, being compacting it into andesite or granite. I can create... Hold on, let me... I've got the option of sapping one of the nether trees, which is pretty easy. I could also use superheating and any of these kinds of blocks, which would cut into my iron production anyways. If I can just get one of the relevant nether trees instead, I can make use of that and get what I want a lot easier. Dang, that spread all over the place instantly. I believe a tree variant would be a lot more interesting thematically. Though I would have to industrialize a good chunk for the heating variant, which I have got some pretty good ideas for already, and I've used in another world. I'm gonna take another look in the nether. One thing about this industrial hellscape mod, by the way, is that it has these fire detectors, which actually chirp occasionally. Which definitely got me distracted a few times when I wasn't sure if it was in my YouTube videos or anywhere else. Do I have any... Nope. Doesn't look like it. I was hoping for spyglass. Right, let's take a look. Can't really see if there's anything. Doesn't look like it. It looks good. Bit distant, but looks about like what I need. I should have gotten dynamic lighting when I got the darkness mod. Having to actually place these torches every now and then is a little annoying. Now what could be interesting? A farming mod that takes place entirely in the Nether. It makes you create clean rooms that are hermetically sealed from the outside to allow you to place water. Like GregTech and what's it called? Those kind of clean rooms. Just for some water. Alright. Mhm. I do have alternate paths as well. Oh yes, because there's a never portal in the way. All entities that try to pass into my base just get sent on hell, which is not intentional, but for some of them, very well maybe. I didn't have any more. Hmm. Hmm. Funny. I'm still throwing myself into the lava as soon as I got a single sapling. You know, there may be, despite everything, good sides to AI. But considering the clear lack of foresight in most current existing automated systems inside or outside of government, not even the best AI that I currently know of should ever be allowed to make the final call on something government related, I believe. Like whatever is out there, hidden, not even released, outside of the public view in terms of AI, should not be allowed to make a single actual direct decision. That's my stance. It's like, it may point, it may filter, but even when filtering, it may not discard, and it certainly may not judge in any circumstance. That is, like, even considering the mistakes that people make. I don't want anyone to even have remotely the excuse that the system made a mistake and so nobody's responsible. Because if nobody is responsible, nobody gets punished, and if nobody gets punished, nobody is ever gonna bother fixing the mistakes of the system, which is already not happening a lot from what I can tell. Like fixing systems that are broken. I mean, would you honestly want the same kind of machine that determines YouTube strikes to determine life sentencing strikes, or even just driving license revocation strikes. Just think about it like that, right? Like, consider the mistakes that Google is making. Google, the company that the government wishes they had all the access to their data to for free. Like the mistakes that they are making. And then just think about how much worse the systems that the government itself would use are. Generally, like, they've just not got the newest tech. And if they were to use that not newest tech to then, you know, convict somebody, I don't think that would be good. Now, I don't actually know how to just connect it to a block. I'm not actually sure how I can. Right, the mushrooms. That's it. But I would also need one of these, I think. Oh, that's interesting. Well, I'm just gonna take its word for it that it can be done by just connecting it to any block. If that doesn't work, I'm not waiting until I get Silk Touch. I'm just cheating myself in a molten island and growing myself a tree. Music disc. Okay. Okay. Interesting. Easy. Need to bang some copper into plates. Okay. Gonna grab another bite. These were given priority in the order of the trees growing. Not dealing with all that. Let's check this out. Pretty neat. You know, I sometimes wonder if in Star Trek, in that universe, if there's any colonies where there just is a bunch of movie fans, sci-fi movie fans, who decide to make up a whole several movie plots worth of lore and just pretend to live in a dystopian society. Just for the vibes. You know, fake rain generators, fog that looks like smog. Harmless, of course, but a little bit scented. That kind of thing. So they've got like a fake police force as well. That could be interesting. You know, running out and pretending to be dystopian cops. I mean, with the advent of the holodeck, of course, there would be lots of that sort of thing. They could easily have made a contemporary movie or show that came out at the same time as Star Trek and just pretended it's an old timer that the people of that world, you know, reminisce about, like looking back at the time when those kinds of movies were made. Just make up some stuff about the time, reading up on current events, and to them are the distant past. Right, I'm gonna be needing bone meal. Dang, I haven't really had any of these blocks before. Okay. That'll do. It's not. Oh no, it's right here. So, ta-da! Yep, it's working. Now I just need gravel. And would you look at that? Bottleneck is now just the lava, so I'm gonna be redirecting it to a tank. Will do. That's gonna be filling up this, and then this can be used to slowly fill up over here. Amazing. It's making polished andesite. If I set it to it like this, it's only making andesite, not polishing it. Okay. And we're going for the all reliable over here. 2 hoppers. One is ingredient A, the other is ingredient B. Meanwhile, and there we go. It's gonna silver only generate up to a stack, but I can later on amend this design to include a hopper. Yep. And it's not like the purpose of this is to produce andesite. The purpose of this is to reduce flint without having to just trash it, which I dislike in general. Especially considering how much I'm generating just by having this iron farm active. I want to do some designer of this. Got ways and ways. I'm not gonna completely kitty save this. just gonna add a little fence around it so I don't accidentally fall in or something. So there's really not gonna be any reason for me to enter here except for adding more of these. It's basically almost purely visual. I'm not gonna pretend this is some kind of big infectious nether plant I need to watch out for. What does make me wonder how many purely or 99% block-based infection mods are out there? Like ones where the main infection is not some kind of mob going around, where you don't have some kind of hive mind growing or hordes forming, where it's just, like in this one, sand or the nether or something else. Frost could be another potential one. I don't know if there's a frost mod which it's like a snow infection. And this is now fully sped up and has all the trees active. That should be refilling a lot faster as well. I want to make some more rubber blocks. Like I'm gonna work on that second floor on the office part. The idea is there's some locker room where people change into more secure uniforms or something. Also, I could have some actual waiting area for any outsiders. Like imagine if there was some real catastrophe and there was some people working on trying to fix it or researching it. This would be the building that would be built to deal with it. And potentially serve as the last haven. My mother has this saying. I don't know where exactly it comes from, or if she herself believes in it. But I remember hearing sometimes, like, if everybody would just sweep in front of their own house, every place would be clean. I guess there's a lot of ways you could interpret that. I would say a good interpretation of that would be you don't need to take care of everything that is a problem. You just need to take care of the problems you yourself can see and fix. I have a similar thing I like to say. It's like, there are only so many things you personally can get mad about before it becomes a problem. I could right now decide, and I need to take care of, like, what do I mean by take care of? This war, that war, this issue with climate, that issue of the climate, you know, this small injustice, this big injustice, all of these things. And if I were to say I would try to do that, I would just explode. I think I would just combust violently, like not in some kind of you know, improvised device kind of way. I mean in a the human body ceases to function kind of way. In a this path was not meant for mere mortals kind of way. Because it would just be too much at some point. Certainly you could, and to some extent probably should, look at the problems in the world and think about how you personally can do something about them. But you should also be aware that you cannot take care of all of them. Not most of them, not even many of them. But at least think about how you can maybe get around to helping some of them resolve in a good way. I haven't been burning in a while. How's the sky looking? Sparsely dotted? It's alright. I'm gonna rearrange my seating one moment. Alright. room legs could be pretty neat. Bottleneck right now is the amount of extractions I've built on this. Can I? Probably. Thinking about doing a storage movement. Taking all my stuff and putting it into a container. Oh, it is getting dark again. I've got these gray shipping containers. I want to place one of them down. I could chain it to the ceiling. Beautiful. It's gonna work perfectly. Okay. Things I do not need to carry around with me all the time. Goodbye. Read. That's a whole chest. Goodbye. Free. Free, free, free. Goodbye. Finally, I've got storage. Oh, I've been playing for so long. Ah. I would love a middle one, but okay. And once again, it's night. I sometimes take a screenshot so I can later on compare how much it spread. It has, by the way, supposedly a system for spreading beyond the loaded distance, meaning beyond chunks you are loading. I'm not too sure how exactly that's gonna work. Got another storm. This has been slowly filling in. Very slowly. There. You can see it's filling up spots like this until they reshoot up and no one gets placed down. You know, creating these slopes. Among the plants that can grow in this newly formed biome, there are some which are pretty special. The desert flower, for example, is used for a lot of the more mid to late game items you can make in this mod. And I'm not quite sure what the conditions are for it to spawn. Here's one of them I got a while ago. Overcharged crystal bricks. Leave bush. Okay. Interesting. Maybe some information could help me if I understood any of it. Oh. Oof. Okay. Whoa. Oh, okay, and it has another one. Okay. Oh, imagine automating all of that in sequence. That's gotta be intense. Like, having something that generates X amount of generators in a second. Uninterrupted. You know, all the intermediary steps completely automated. Via whatever other means there may be. Random lag, okay. Ooh, ooh. As far as I understand the mod, even if this was desert sand, for example, it would not infect anything on the inside. Because there's a setting that specifically lets it infect diagonally, which is disabled at the moment and by default. Just checking again though. Considering what the rest of the world is starting to look like, I'm rather intent on not letting it do that. Okay, let's check on the iron generator. So I can make more flat glass. Thinking 4 layers up is gonna be all I'm gonna do for that. If it still puts sand all over the place after that, I'm just gonna use other blocks to make up the difference. You don't know. Well, I'm sending enough, I don't know. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'm just gonna go up and start placing. Find it weird how it seems to not completely infecting nearby, but also still spreading outwards. Okay, let me try getting rid of all the sand inside now. Last time I tried, it just came right back. There wasn't even any storm or anything. Will it stay away this time? I should be good. Nope, seems to still be happening. At least on a lower level. I don't need to completely close it off from the sky. At least that appears to be one of the conditions. I haven't had any sandstorms appear directly inside my box, even though it is lower to the ground and more surrounded by sand. Well, in some ways. That was in game. I don't know what these do. Rule by default unless provoked. Roll damage this attacker. Convert into rolling projectile when killed. Can regenerate water under daylight. Removes cacti and rolling acid spits. So if I put it in water, something happens. Oh, like regenerates health. That's what you mean. Okay. And converts into stuff with killed. And this. Interesting. This bit of pollution has been stuck over here for a while, and I haven't been able to find out any way of getting rid of it. Like, I placed that so it wouldn't get constantly caught on the windmill, Still does. That's good. Not enough. Hmm. Hearing something in the background. Didn't know they had a sound. Fuck off, then. So it's about to turn into some kind of giga bomb. Because it has collected like 20 times the maximum value or something. Hmm. It's just there. Okay. Best of bread. Should fill. Ah, fine. Whoa! That was a little intense. This storm has footstep sounds. Which really unsettles me whenever it happens. It's like it's pretending to be dead. There's something alive. What's it looking in here now? Oh, okay. This is the thing that worries me, like it potentially being able to get all the way up and above. That could become an issue. Which may at some point require higher walls. Like this as well. I would maybe need to install automatic drills or something like that. In-game beep. I am also not entirely sure I've secured all caves, which could come back to bite me. Right then. Here's the thing. I don't want to find a blaze to make a blaze burner. But if I want to make use of a new age heaters, what I need is not just heat pipes, but heat pumps as well. For which I need thorium. I've installed New Age a little bit later. Than the other mods. So hasn't really generated all the way through the world. And I also haven't been able to find it through digging up until around here. And also it has the recipe, which I am just getting one starter thorium for. Any stone, even cobble? No, just stone types. What do I have in terms of clay generation? I can wash sand. I can crush gravel into sand. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna need to actually use existing clay because I'm not gonna be able to get into the stuff I need to make clay without that. Actually, I could just wash sand. Actually, I could just... I've got a growing infectious desert outside. I could just wash sand. No issue. None at all. No need to make it any more difficult than that. Let's just wash sand. Question. I've done nothing but washing sand for 3 days. What? This is gonna take hunger. I'm not gonna go directly for my front yard. I'm just gonna go a little up the side here. I forgot about utterly worthless tools are. with durability. I've been using unbreakable diamond tools in another mod pack. I don't know how much it generates. Let's see. 25. So it's 4 stacks. Like considering I need to turn into blocks, I mean. It's optimistically like 4 stacks, probably a lot less. Should think about what I want to do with the grass down here. I'd like to create some kind of underground biome. A terrarium aside, thoughts? Um, I can just put it in the other barrel chest. This one. Yeah, yep. You can see the little cut I've took through this area. It's gonna be slowly filling in, of course. Just for proof of concept, I'm gonna be making some already. gonna grab some lava so I can use it as fuel over here. Actually, this will work. Okay, magic. Some kind of magic. I'll always keep one in there. Yeah, the rest is gonna go to eating. Right, I don't have that with me. So, eating. Taking a look at New Age. Doesn't have a lot of blocks, but the ones it has have a lot of effects. It's got a lot of power stuff here, but it's not really important for now, but the important thing is it has a heater, it's a Stirling engine, and it has a reactor set up. Now, the heat is simple. A pipe can take 10,000 degrees of temperature before it turns into lava, which is not a worthwhile process, especially since I can just pump it out of trees. The heat pump transports from any heat element in the mod to the next, to the one it's pointing at about half the contained temperature, I think, per tick or something. Or like per heat calculation tick. It's not really per tick, I think. Or at least the display is not. You need, if you look at the heater here, you need 100 degrees for basic heating and 500 heat for blazing heating. That is well within the tolerance of the 10,000 degrees. But still pretty intense. You are expected to make a reactor and use that to generate a lot of heat. A reactor, of course, using clay and thorium, making thorium and thorium out of thorium and using a thorium to create more thorium, that kind of thing. And to then make reactor fuel. I like passive generation. Very, very passive generation. Because there's another way to get heat. Magma blocks. Or campfires, but magma blocks are more lag efficient. I'm just checking if I have anything I want to grab. Probably that. Bees. Definitely that. Yep. These. And these will measure. Alright. I can see that. I'm gonna want a path, yeah. Got 6 thorium, that's gonna regenerate, that's gonna generate a lot of, where's the lead pads here? Yeah, okay. So, no, it's more heat pipe than I need right now. I'm gonna place the heater already because I don't want to forget about this. Okay. Now, wait. Shh. Oh, no torches. It's gonna make this whole area a lot gloomier than intended. Right, I've got goggles on, so I can see. By being above magma blocks, these generate 5 degrees per tick. A little bit of it always dissipates, slowly. The rest is going to get pumped on along this, over to here. It creates 50 degrees per tick. I'm gonna need a little bit more to get to a point where I can actually use it for anything. 100 degrees at least is needed, I think. For like, literally having any effect. No, no way. Oh, okay. I was gonna say. Could also just... That's better. Haben wir schon. Not really that well, but we really think about it. Like before lava generation, I mean, it was, you know, you use it and then it's gone. Zinc. Zinc needed. You know, at school we had like a couple of teachers were kind of weird, like really into the idea of preserving some traditions in a way that's kind of pushy. I guess this trend of rejecting loan words, even. And to a degree, that's kind of ridiculous. Literally the meme about German words. But like, nose would become like a 5 to 8 syllable word if that system were to be used. Huh. Which is simply completely ridiculous. Then we have an entire sub-language, which sounds incredibly weird to me personally. And there's, I don't know, it's like, it's like, you know, it's like talking to someone with a hyperfixation, but that someone is a authority figure, a teacher, and they don't treat it like it's some kind of hobby of theirs, but something honorable or historically important. And you know, not in a not in some kind of weird way, at least as far as I have been aware of it. But definitely weird. 100% weird. You know, not in a very some way where you would in which you would think about this if you were to hear about all of this taking place in Germany. I I at least have not been aware of such, you know, movements. At least not by teachers. I've actually never personally encountered someone like that. You know, I know they exist, but I've never personally seen anybody who believes in stuff like that. I met somebody who used to. I've met a guy who had tattoos of stuff on, you know, his bald forehead. Had to have those removed, obviously. Guy was in prison, I think. And at some point he just decided, hey man, this whole thing doesn't look quite as good as they kept shouting. And I guess stopped going, or maybe fought his way out, I don't know. I don't remember exactly his story. But yeah, I've never met somebody who's actively in some kind of situation like that. I suppose I'd have to live in one of the bigger-ish cities for that. Where we live, it's really not. Nobody really cares. It's just all people, as we all of course are. Because this is the 500 degrees stage, it's sort of self-regulating. You can't really... There's no block in here to detect heat level and then change in some kind of cooling system. No, you really need to basically just do the math. And the easiest way I found of doing the math is having like one of these every 3 blocks-ish connected. And by the time the first one would start melting, the last one started going to the 500 degrees level. And, you know, venting off that extra heat. Like these vent as much as the level they have reached. So just by having that 400 to 100 level gap, they can self-regulate. Yes, he reached 400 degrees and in that tick it's just completely empty to 100 again. Sweet. Sweet. By the way, you've got a config for that mod, which also lets you just disable the 10,000 degrees limit. Got another mod pack in which I have basically I have a few million degrees of temperature. just casually in the pipes. Okay, I am starting to get tired. I'm gonna stop the stream for now. Yeah, I'm gonna wrap it up for now. This text is hard to read if you play the game at the default resolution, but at 180p it's fine. I think that's what it says.